Hello dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Harpreet Kaur, Assistant Professor, Khalsa College of Education, Ranjit Avenue, Amritsar. Today we will discuss about the topic Constitutional Provisions Governing Educational Administration in India, Sharing of Powers. The main objective of this topic are to describe the constitutional provision related to education, to enable the student to comprehend the process of educational administration at center and state level, to acquaint students regarding three lists of constitution, that is center, state and concurrent. As we all know, India got independence on August 15, 1947. There was a great need to formulate a constitution to administer the country, so a constitution committee was organized by the Government of India to draft a constitution for the country. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the head of committee and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was elected as the chairman of drafting committee. This committee drafted the Constitution of India after the hard work of 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. This constitution was formulated on January 26, 1950. The constitution of country is the basic document which may be regarded as the source of legislation. The Constitution of India has provided a large number of clauses and articles which have a direct or indirect bearing on education. Its preamble reflects the national ethos, values and aspirations. It gives the direction in which the nation would go ahead and achieve its aim. Students, these constitution provisions have exercised a direct as well as indirect bearing on education at different stages. The various constitutional provisions regarding education in India are according to our social, economic, cultural and political needs are as shown in the table. Let us discuss about these constitutional provisions. In Article 45 of Constitution, there is provision for free and compulsory education for children. The state shall endeavour to provide within a period of 10 years from the commencement of this constitution for free and compulsory education for all children until they have completed the age of 14 years. Next is right to education. Article 21A is included in the Constitution by 86th Amendment Act 2002. This article states that state shall provide free and compulsory education to all children of the age of 6 to 14 years in such a manner as state may by the law determine. Now, by 93rd Amendment of the Constitution, the primary education has been made a fundamental right. It has become a legal right. Article 15 of Constitution is regarding education of women. Article 15(1) provides that the state shall not discriminate against any citizen on ground of sex only. Article 15(3) of the Constitution empower the state to make any special provision for women, and this includes their education also. Next is promotion of education and economic interest of SC, ST and other weaker section is discussed in Article 46. Article 46 laid down the state shall promote the special care for the education and economic interest of the weaker section of the people and in particular of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, and shall protect them from social injustice and all form of exploitation. It is one of the directive principle of state policy. Next is provision for religious education. Article 25(1) of the Constitution guarantees all the citizens a right to freedom of conscience and the right to profess, practice and propagate religion. Article 28 relates to freedom as to attendance at religious instruction or religious worship in certain educational institution. This article has 3 clauses. Clause 1 of Article 28 states, no religious instruction shall be provided in any educational institution wholly maintained out of state fund. Clause 2 states, nothing in Clause 1 shall apply to any educational institution which is administered by the state but has been established under any endowment or trust which requires that religious instruction shall be imparted in such institution. And Clause 3 of Article 28 lays down, no person attending any educational institution recognized by state or receiving aid out of state fund shall be required to take part in any religious instruction that may be imparted in such institution or to attend any religious worship that may be conducted in such institution or in any premises attached there to, unless such person or if such person is a minor, his guardian has given a consent thereto. Protection of interest of minorities is included in Article 29. Article 29 relates the protection of interest of minorities and it laid down the following points. Any section of the citizen residing in the territory of India or any part thereof having a distinct language, script or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve the same. No citizen shall be denied admission into any educational institution maintained by the state or receiving aid out of state fund on the ground only of religion, race, caste, language or any of them. Article 30 relates to right of minorities to establish and administer educational institution. All minorities, whether based on religion or language, shall have right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. The state shall not discriminate against any educational institution in respect of granting aid on the ground that it is under the management of a minority, whether based on religion or language. There is provision of instructions in mother tongue at primary stage. Article 350A relates to facilities for instruction in mother tongue at primary stage. According to this article, it shall be the endeavor of every state and of every local authority with the state to provide adequate facilities for the instruction in mother tongue at the primary stage of education to children belonging to linguistic minorities groups, and the President may issue such direction to any state as he considers necessary or proper for receiving the provision of such facilities. Article 350B provides for the appointment of a special officer for linguistic minorities with the object of investigating into the matter relating to safeguard provided for linguistic minorities under the Constitution. Promotion of Hindi. Article 351 is related to promotion of Hindi. The Constitution also provides for the development and propagation of national language Hindi. According to Article 351, it is the special responsibility of the Centre to develop the national language, that is Hindi, so that it may serve as a medium of expression for all the elements of the composite culture of India. For this, there is a Directorate of Hindi in the Central Ministry of Home Affairs. Education in the Union Territories. Article 239 of the Constitution states, "Save as otherwise provided by Parliament by law, every Union territory shall be administered by the President, acting to such extent as he thinks fit through an administrator to be appointed by him with such designation as he may specify." This means that every Union territory has its own education department, and the responsibility of education in Union territory has been under Union or central government. Fundamental duties to provide opportunity for education. Article 51A, Clause K. It shall be the duty of every citizen of India who is parent or guardian to provide opportunity for the education to his child, or as the case may be, wards between the age of 6 to 14 years. So students, these provisions related to education. Now let us talk about educational administration at different level. To start with, educational administration at national level. This constitutional provision reveals the central government is expected to play a significant role in the field of education through Ministry of Human Resource Development, through its Department of Education. Soon after India achieved its independence on 15 August 1947, a full-fledged Ministry of Education was established on 29 August 1947. The nomenclature and responsibility of Education Department has undergone changes from time to time. Since independence, since 1986, the ministry has been known as Ministry of Human Resource Development. At present, the ministry has 3 departments, namely Department of Secondary and Higher Education, Department of Elementary Education and Literacy, Department of Women and Child Development. Broadly speaking, following are the major functions performed by the Ministry of Human Resource Development. So, the first one is planning. The central government determine targets and prepare the education plans to be implemented by the country as a whole. Educational reform. From time to time, the Government of India has set up commissions which have gone into the various aspects of education at different levels and have provided valuable recommendations and suggestions, which have further been considered by the expert and states requested to implement the recommendation on the expert bodies. Next is organization. For carrying out educational plans, Government of India has set up institutions like All India Council of Technical Education, National Council of Educational Research and Training, National Institute of Educational Planning and Administration, which provide guidance to the state in the field of education. Next is direction. The central government also directs and guides the state government, local bodies and private enterprise so as to encourage education on right line. This is done by the ministry through Central Advisory Board of Education. Next is control. The central government allocates suitable grants to states, local bodies and private agencies, thus in exercise considerable control on education. Equalization of educational opportunities. The Government of India is wedded to the establishment of an egalitarian society and therefore has taken many steps to provide equal educational opportunities to the weaker section of the society. It has initiated a large number of programs in this direction. Next is pilot projects. The Ministry of Human Resource Development has undertaken a large number of pilot projects like rural universities, regional institutes, SSE, curriculum reform and textbook. etc. By starting these projects, the ministry aims at providing enlightened leadership all over the country. Next is administration of education in the Union Territory and centrally administered area. Center is directly responsible for education in various Union Territories and other centrally administered area. Clearing house function. The Department of Education serves as depository of information and ideas of education, research, training, and statistics. The Department of Education also published a few educational journals which have provided to be very helpful in disseminating information in all country. Next is educational administration at state level. Minister of Education is the highest authority of education at state level. He is selected by Chief Minister from elected representative and is appointed by the Governor. He is answerable to the state legislature for all his actions. In some states, he is assisted by the state or deputy minister. The immediate responsibility of school education is of the state. The center initiates in policy making and starting schemes and direct the state to implement its instructions. Minister of Education formulates the policies in consultation with the cabinet. He is responsible for the implementation of the policies. He is advised by Educational Secretary and Director of Public Instruction. Generally, the Minister of Education is not an educationist. He takes policy decisions, provided leadership, work for raising standards, set up committees to evaluate the progress, prepare criteria for the school and the teachers, and work for overall development of education in the state. Following are the major functions performed by Minister of Education. So, start with formulation of policies. Minister of Education formulates policies of education of the state. Next, educational program. He provides leadership to the educational programs of the state. Next is formulation of the laws and principles. Beside framing of policies and procedure, he formulates rules, regulations, laws and principles to determine standards of education in the state. Coordination. He coordinates with the Center for the success of educational program determined by the Center. He also coordinates the educational program of the state in order to promote efficiency. Next is investigation and evaluation committees. He formulates inspection, investigation and evaluation committees for promoting efficiency of educational programs. Next is working of schools. His direction and guidelines are helpful in working of school qualification of teachers, criteria of recruitment, pay scale and retirement benefits, and allowances are included in his direction and guidelines. Next is research activities. He promotes research activities related to educational programs in the state. Consultative and informative services. He provides consultative and informative services in the state. Next is advising legislature. He advised the legislature on certain issues and matters and satisfy their legislature about the efficient conduct and educational administration by replying the question asked by them. State further disseminate responsibilities at district and panchayat level for smooth administration of the educational at state level. There is sharing of responsibility as jointly through meaningful partnership between central government and state government. The National Policy on Education 1986 revised in 1992 has described the relationship between the central and state government as that of meaningful partnership. The 1986 policy in Part 3, Para 13 has observed the constitutional amendment of 1976, which includes education in the concurrent list, was a far-reaching step whose implications, substantive, financial and administrative, require a new sharing of responsibility between the center government and the state in respect of this vital area of national life. While the role and responsibility of the state in regard to education will remain essentially unchanged, the Union government would accept a large responsibility to reinforce the national and integrative character of education, to maintain quality and standards, to study and monitor the educational requirement of the country as a whole in regard to manpower for development, to cater the need of research and advanced study, to look after the international aspect of education, culture and human resource development, and in general to promote excellence at all levels of educational pyramid throughout the country. Now, we will discuss sharing of power for different educational functions. According to our constitution, education is a state subject and the central government plays an advisory role. The Constitution of India is federal. In this legislative power are divided between center and state government. Some powers are laid in the concurrent list. There are 3 lists as shown in figure. List 1 Union list, List 2 State list, List 3 concurrent list. So, List 1 Union list, this list contains 97 subjects. Out of these, 7 subjects are related with education. Entry 13, this entry contains educational and cultural relationship with foreign countries. Next is entry 62. National libraries and national organizations come under this entry. Entry 63, central universities, Banaras Hindu University, Aligarh Muslim University, Delhi University and other universities of national impact comes under this entry. Entry 64, institution for scientific and technical education financed by the Government of India wholly or in part and declared by parliamentary law to be institution of national importance comes under this entry. Entry 65 consists of union agencies and institutions for professional, vocational or technical training, including the training of police officers, the promotion of special studies or research, scientific or technical assistance in the investigation or detection of crime. Entry 66, arrangement for higher education and research comes under this entry. It contains coordination and determination of standards in institution for higher education or research and scientific and technical institution. Article 239, education in union territories comes under this central responsibility. Let us know about list 2nd, state list. It consists of 66 subjects. Out of these, 2 subjects are related with education. Entry 11 contains university education. Entry 12, this contains library, museum and other memorable historical places which are not approved, or we can say which are cared by both center and state. List 3rd, concurrent list. This list is of 47 subjects. Out of these, following 6 subjects are related with education. Entry 25, technical, medical and university education which is not related with center list. 63rd to 66, so center and state government both can make law on it. Entry 26, according to this, center and state government both can take necessary step for the development of law, maintenance of health and of other professional education. In the end, we can conclude that in the Constitution of India, special provisions have made regarding basic education for students at pre-primary and elementary level under Article 45 and 21A. For the successful implementation of the constitutional provisions regarding education, there is a clear demarcation of powers between center and state government. Education is a state subject according to the Constitution of India and the role of central government is an advisory one. After the 42nd Amendment Act 1976, education has been included in the concurrent list and responsibility is shared by center and state. Some amendments are made in the Constitution regarding provisioning, governing, educational administration from time to time, so as to match it with the needs of the Indian society and Indian people. Thank you.